Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me on the line, we have Jordan Saxe, who's the head of healthcare listings at Nasdaq, with an update on the healthcare IPO market, as Nasdaq has a number of healthcare IPOs on the calendar. Jordan, before we take a look at what's on tap, give us a recap of Nasdaq's 2019 healthcare IPO performance.
Great, happy to do that, and great to be here speaking with you today. In 2020, we did start the year on a good note, and then we ended up in the current market conditions that we're in now. So I would say that compared to last year, we're off, but we do have a lot of positive news when you look at the pipeline and the number of companies that we're talking to. So I'll pause there. I know there are a lot of things that we could talk about, but I'd love to make sure I answer all your questions and cover the IPO backlog.
Yeah, that's encouraging to hear about the 2020 run rate. In terms of 2019, how did the deals price and perform?
Great question, and that's one of the ways that we kind of look at the quality of the market or the health of the market. So we look at historically where companies price within range, below range, or above range to give you an indication of how receptive investors are, and that gives you kind of a good pulse of what the market looks like. So when you looked at the 2019 IPOs, we actually had over 85% of them pricing within or above range, which is a very healthy market. And when you go back historically, it wasn't as favorable. So when you look at just 2020 as an indicator, you can see that we actually had all of the IPOs pricing within or above range, so no one pricing below range. And that just gives you a glimpse to see that there really are quality deals coming to market being priced correctly. And if these deals were pricing below range, that would signal something else and kind of give you an idea as to what that pipeline looked like as far as investor sentiment goes.
Now, Jordan, with all of us working from home, how does an IPO work remotely? How do the virtual roadshows take place?
Great question, and that's kind of in the DNA of Nasdaq as an electronic marketplace. It really works the same as it works normally. The only difference with a virtual roadshow is there's no physical contact with companies and investors on a one-on-one setting. So leveraging technology, teleconferencing, companies are able to meet with investors that the banking team helps them identify that they would normally meet with in person. However, they're just doing it virtually instead, and they're able to become more efficient. And also is a little more cost effective because you can meet with more people in less time because there's no travel.
Now, IPO market conditions, certainly we are in unprecedented times as we deal with the fallout with COVID-19. What does the pipeline look like?
So what we're seeing and hearing from companies that we speak with, everyone that is on file confidentially, and it is hard to see what the pipeline looks like nowadays with the Jobs Act because most companies that are on file are filed confidentially, so you don't see them until they're 30 days away from an IPO when they do their public flip of the S1 filing. So we're talking with a lot of companies that are still working with the SEC. They have not withdrawn their filing, which means removed it. They're pencils down, as we like to say, and they're working with their lawyers to keep refreshing the filing. So what that indicates to us is that companies are remaining bullish on the opportunity for the IPO window to open up more broadly and become more favorable for launching an IPO. That being said, we do have a few IPOs coming to market right now, and that does give us some indication that markets are willing to support these deals, and I think it's just a positive trend. However, as the markets get more clarity and volatility comes down, you will, I think, see more and more companies coming to market.
All right, Jordan, let's wrap with your broader healthcare sector outlook and the impact of COVID-19. What's the next realistic IPO window? Are you looking at late Q2, early Q3, perhaps a little bit farther out than that?
Yeah, great questions. I think realistically, there's probably 3 windows for the rest of the year that we're going to see companies, and that's going to be the June, July into late August or early August timeline, and then September, October, you have the elections, and then there's one last final window where we see companies looking to go out, and that is right after Thanksgiving, before the Christmas holidays.
All right, Jordan, thanks so much for the outlook. Appreciate you joining us.
Great, thank you for the time.
All right, and thanks for joining me on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.